Skip one reply, just one, and watch the room tilt. The air goes electric. Names that once summoned you fall silent, and a curious quiet rushes in where your instant yes used to live. You're not disappearing. You're finally coming into focus, and the world, trained by your constant availability, starts to wobble. Who still shows up when access isn't guaranteed? Who panics when your time stops being free? Keep listening. What happens next will redraw every relationship you thought you understood. For a long time, you trained people to treat your presence like running water, always on, always clean, always free. You answered before messages were fully typed, rearranged your day to rescue the same situation again, poured attention into conversations that left you emptier than before. It looked like kindness. It felt like virtue. Underneath it pulsed a quiet terror that if you stopped, you would be forgotten. You mistook access for intimacy and usefulness for love. Imagine stepping back for one day. Notice what rises. Guilt whispers first, doesn't it? The old script says, be nice, be reachable, be the fixer. But whose voice is that? When you have kept everyone else warm for years, your first boundary feels like winter. The mask you wore to keep the peace, the smiling, endlessly capable version of you, grew so thick it began to believe it was the real you. The truth is simpler and braver. The real you is tired of performing. The turning begins quietly. You do not slam doors. You stop holding them. You do not declare a philosophy. You let one call go to voicemail and choose not to explain. You watch your mind sprint for justification, and then you try something new. You breathe and you do nothing. That single pause ends a lifelong reflex. In that pause, you stop feeding the story that your worth equals your availability. Silence is not an insult. It is self-respect speaking in its native tongue. Quickly the landscape sorts itself. People who valued you reach out to ask how you are, not to demand access. They choose curiosity over pressure. Others grow restless. They never loved you. They loved the function you performed. They will call your boundary attitude, your quiet drama, your time selfish. Let them name it whatever keeps their old map intact. You are drawing a new map, and on this map, the center is not negotiation. The center is you. You might feel the pull to explain. You do not owe a report on your soul. Explanation is often a disguise for guilt, and guilt is a poor compass. Notice instead what your body knows. Your shoulders lower when you do not rush. Your breath deepens when you tell the truth. Your day develops edges and depth when you stop scattering it to prove you are kind. There was a time you said yes with a shaking voice because you were afraid of the cost of no. You gave weekends to people who never asked how your week went. You stayed in conversations that felt like slow leaking. You smiled through the ache of being misunderstood, hoping that being good would make you feel chosen. It did not. It only trained others to expect your sacrifice and taught you to disappear gracefully. Everything changes when you stop being available. Your presence grows heavier. Your words hit harder. Your silence begins to carry a shape. People realize that access to you was never a right. It was a privilege. Those who can meet you with dignity learn the new rhythm. Those who cannot fall away, let them. Not in anger, not in contempt, simply in alignment. Here is what no one tells you. The loneliness you fear is not the enemy. The real ache is the life you lose by never being alone long enough to hear yourself. When you withdraw from the noise, your inner voice speaks above a whisper. It does not bargain. It does not shout. It simply says, come home. The home it invites you to is not a building. It's a way of being in which you no longer argue against your own needs. You will notice patterns that once hid in plain sight. The friend who only calls to unload. The relative who praises you when you serve and punishes you when you rest. The romance, where you carry the emotional furniture up every flight of stairs and get thanked with silence. Pull back, and the script reveals itself. You were cast as the reliable one, the good listener, the rescuer. This role won applause. It also erased your face. Withdraw the performance, and the room adjusts. Some people will try to pull you back into costume. They will test you with small emergencies and borrowed language about loyalty. They will say you have changed, and they will be right. You have stopped confusing peacekeeping with peace. You are learning that the price of endless calm in the room was a storm in your chest. You are choosing weather that is honest. This is the threshold where old reflexes panic. You will catch yourself composing long messages to justify a simple boundary. You will draft apologies for not absorbing someone's frustration. You will feel the itch to prove that you are still good. Notice the itch and do not scratch it. Goodness is not a performance, and compassion without a spine is self-erasure. Your care is real. It just has better aim now. You are not rejecting people. You are returning to your center. You are not abandoning them. You are resigning from a job you were never hired to do. Other adults can carry their own weather. You can stop volunteering to be the sky. When you stop being available, you will meet the part of you that was addicted to being needed. This part believes attention is love and exhaustion is a trophy. It learned long ago that staying small kept the peace and that caretaking brought temporary safety. Thank it for protecting you, then ask it to rest. You need its vigilance for emergencies, not for every question mark in someone else's day. This is not a war against your past. It is a reorganization. You are redistributing energy from survival toward creation. What happens when the hours you gave away return to your hands? They become pages written, meals tasted, walks finished, sleep repaired. They become conversations with yourself that do not end in a scolding. The more you keep, the more you can give without dying a little each time. Let's tell the truth about cost. The old way cost you your attention, your clarity, your steadiness. It cost you the memories you would have made if you weren't constantly on call. It cost you respect, other people's, yes, but most painfully your own. The new way has cost too. You will lose roles that once made you feel heroic. You will lose relationships that only worked when you carried both sides. You will lose the illusion that being good requires disappearing. What you gain is a life that fits. You begin to make choices that do not need a witness to feel valid. You speak less and mean more. You say no and your stomach stays calm. You say yes and do not resent it later. Your phone grows quieter and your days grow deeper. You stop negotiating your worth in places that refuse to see it, and the need to prove begins to die. People will treat you differently, some with confusion, some with anger, a rare few with respect. The ones who respect you will not just tolerate your boundaries. They will have their own. With them, reciprocity grows like a healthy tree, slow, rooted, generous. You do not have to audition for belonging there. Your presence is welcomed, not consumed. Notice how the center of your life shifts when you reserve your energy. You start to hear subtle signals. The fatigue that arrives after certain conversations, the headache that follows certain promises, the calm that spreads when you choose to wait before replying. These are not inconveniences. They are instruments, tuned to your well-being. You can learn their language. Time expands when you stop selling it for approval. The hour you once spent calming a chaos you did not create becomes the hour you spend tending to the quiet work that actually builds your life. The afternoon you once gave to a task that kept someone else from learning becomes the afternoon you give to learning something new yourself. This is not selfishness. It is stewardship. You may wonder, will people leave? Some will, but consider this question instead. Who arrives when you stop being everywhere? Depth arrives. Peace arrives. Friends who can sit with a complete sentence arrive. A love that does not confiscate your calendar arrives. Your own attention arrives, and with it the honesty to admit what you want. There will be days you are tempted to go back. A message will land with urgency that is not yours. An invitation will sound like a summons. A familiar ache will suggest that relief lives in saying yes right now. Breathe. You are not an ambulance. Delay is not cruelty. Delay is the time it takes to ask, is this mine to hold? You are learning a new arithmetic. Not every need equals your duty. Not every silence equals abandonment. Not every problem equals a test of your character. What if your highest responsibility is to carry your own life with care? What if your absence from the wrong room is your presence in the right one? When you stop being available, you begin to see your own shape. You remember the books you meant to finish, the letters you meant to write, the strength you meant to rebuild, the joy you meant to let in without performing first. You remember that the person you wanted to be was never born from exhaustion. They were born from attention, quiet, steady, yours. Your value does not rise with your response time. Your worth does not grow next to a calendar full of other people's plans. You are not more lovable because you are more reachable. You are not a better friend because you forget yourself. You are not a better partner because you swallow your no. Love that requires your self-betrayal is not love. It is appetite. Some will try to convince you otherwise. They will say intimacy demands immediate access. They will call boundaries a wall. They will warn you that you will end up alone. Remember this, you once felt alone in crowded rooms where you were adored for your usefulness. The solitude you choose now is not a sentence. It is a sanctuary where you rebuild trust with yourself. Practice small, brave acts. Let a message wait. Let a call go. Let a favor pass to someone else who can learn by doing. Let a complaint land without catching it. Every time you resist the old reflex, you teach your nervous system that safety does not live only in pleasing others. Safety can live in telling the truth. Safety can live in taking your time. Safety can live in letting people be disappointed. Disappointment will not destroy those who care about you. In fact, it will teach them who you really are. The ones who stay will get to love a person with edges, not a cloud of convenience. They will learn the rhythm of your yes and the weight of your no, and the relationship will be better for it. You will also meet the shadow of your own resentment. It has been waiting, stacked up behind years of false agreement. When you begin to act in alignment, resentment drains away. What remains is a clean kind of strength, not brittle, not loud, but steady. This steadiness is what people begin to feel when you walk in. Not a rescuer, not a resource, a person. Your language will change. Let me think about it. I don't have capacity. That doesn't work for me. These sentences may tremble the first few times. Soon they will stand on their own feet. You will learn to end explanations with periods instead of doorways for negotiation. Strangely, the more direct you are, the kinder you become. Clear sentences prevent hidden bitterness. You might discover that your schedule was full of unspoken contracts. You provided emotional labor. Others provided attention. You provided time. Others provided flattery. You provided predictability. Others provided belonging. These contracts were never honest. Tear them up. Write new ones that do not require your disappearance as the fee for admission. What about service, you ask? Generosity is not leaving yourself out. Real service springs from overflow, not deficit. When you are rested, your presence nourishes. When you are grounded, your advice has gravity. When you are intact, your help does not breed dependency. You will give better when you stop giving yourself away. There is a deeper reason this boundary work feels holy. By stepping back from the crowd, you return the borrowed pieces of yourself. You call home the attention that wandered. You stop being everyone's emergency exit and become a door that opens to your own interior. The world does not need you frantic. It needs you real. Some days the quiet will startle you. You will reach for noise out of habit and find none. Use that space. Ask difficult questions. What have I been avoiding by always being busy? Which relationships survive when I stop rescuing them? Which desires emerge when I stop numbing myself with usefulness? Do not rush the answers. They prefer to arrive on foot. This is what happens when you stop being available. You become visible to yourself. You notice the tenderness you have for your younger self, who thought love meant labor without end. You notice the courage it takes to disappoint the story other people wrote about you. You notice that rest is not a prize for finishing life. It is the ground from which a life worth living grows. One day, you will walk into a room and feel the difference like a weather pattern. You will sit down and say less and be heard more. You will leave and not worry about what your absence means. It means you have a life. It means you respect it. It means you know that the people who belong in it can handle its shape. Everything changes, yes. But the most important change is quiet and interior. You stop negotiating with your own clarity. You stop tugging at the sleeve of your own certainty, asking it to be softer. You begin to trust the simple measurements. A calm breath, an unhurried yes, a no that does not bruise your lungs. From the outside, it may look like you have become distant. From the inside, you are finally within reach of your thoughts, of your limits, of your days. You are not harder, you are truer. You are no longer an open tab in everyone else's browser. You are a whole window with a view that belongs to you. So let the phone ring sometimes. Let the messages stack for a while. Let your availability become a chosen gift rather than an endless fact. This is not punishment. It is calibration. The people who are meant for your life will learn your rhythm. The ones who only needed your silence will look elsewhere for it. End as you began, quietly. Turn toward your own life like you would toward someone you cherish. Check in. Ask what needs tending. Listen. Then give yourself what you have offered so freely to others. Your warm presence, your patient attention, your loyal time. As you do, something rearranges. The world does not crumble. The right parts draw nearer, and you, at last, take up your full and rightful space. There is an art to this new way of being. It is not ascetic withdrawal, and it is not stubborn refusal. It is a rhythm. Engage, then return. Offer, then rest. Speak, then listen inward. You learn to tune your life like an instrument. Too tight, the string snaps. Too loose, it cannot carry a note. Your availability becomes music when it serves the song rather than the noise. Ask yourself simple questions that cut through fog. If I say yes, what part of me pays? If I say no, what part of me heals? If I am quiet, what truth steps forward? If I speak, will I still respect myself afterwards? These questions do not make you difficult. They make you honest. Honesty simplifies your days more than any productivity plan ever could. Some relationships will grow richer when you stop being constantly reachable. Surprised. Limits create shape. Shape creates safety. Safety invites depth. When people know the contours of your time and energy, they stop guessing and start choosing. They come to you not because you are always there, but because when you are there, you are real. Presence beats prevalence. If you were raised to be the reliable one, the first season of change will feel like standing up on sea legs. You will wobble. Expect the wobble. Expect old stories to send postcards. You're selfish. You're cold. You think you're better. Let them arrive. You do not have to answer every letter from your past. File them under myth and keep walking. There will also be quiet blessings that arrive without announcement. A morning with space in it, a laugh that comes from your belly instead of from politeness. A task finished in one sitting because your attention is no longer scattered across a dozen unpaid jobs. A friendship that begins to feel lighter because you stopped carrying what was never yours. This practice is not about becoming untouchable. It is about becoming intact. Intact people can be touched without falling apart. They can be asked for help without being harvested. They can care without collapsing. Paradoxically, when you stop being constantly available, your love becomes safer to receive. It does not come with a hidden invoice. You will notice that your decisions start to align. Food that steadies rather than spikes. Movement that clears rather than punishes. Work that builds rather than burns. Conversations that grow rather than drain. This coherence is not glamorous. It is quietly revolutionary. It gathers your scattered self into one place and tells you, stay. There is a final fear to name. The fear of missing out on the person you used to be. You may grieve the version of you who could juggle everything and still smile. You may miss the applause that came with being everywhere. Let the grief move. Thank that version for carrying you this far. Then make room at the table for the person you are becoming. They may smile less on command, but their joy will be rooted. In the end, this is not a performance to perfect. It is a life to inhabit. You do not have to convince anyone to believe in your boundaries for them to work. You do not need universal approval to rest. You do not need a committee to grant you permission to be unavailable sometimes. You only need courage practiced in small daily ways. Begin again tomorrow, and the next day, and the next. Answer when it is yours to answer. Decline when it is not. Leave some messages until your clarity returns. Let others solve what they can. Trust that the people who love you for you will adapt. Trust that those who cannot adapt were an overdrawn account. Trust that your time, stewarded well, will become a habitat where your best self can breathe. And when doubt returns, as it will, place a hand on your heart and ask the plainest question of all. What choice lets me live with myself? Choose that. Even if it is quieter, even if it is smaller, even if it disappoints the story someone else preferred. Your life is not a public utility. It is a sacred responsibility. Treat it that way and watch everything finally change. Choose presence over performance, truth over pleasing, and let your quiet life speak loudly for you now.